facilitator, which we often know. The way that we talk about it in the hosting community is like facilitation sometimes can be sort of really aggressive, like you're just trying to pull people to this goal. And host is not that way. We just create space for you to have the conversations that you want to be having. And our most important goal is the conversations that matter in the middle. And wherever that goes is wherever that goes. So I've created the design for today. I will be holding space for you so you can have a good design session, so you can talk to each other in a meaningful way, etc. And come out of this with something really, really good. So I was invited by Alana and Kyle, who are representatives from Reallocate, and they're just going to welcome everyone, frame the event, and then I can talk about what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thanks, Rip. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. This is awesome. This is actually the first event that's inside of the new free space, and Alana's going to talk a little bit more about the purpose of that. I'm excited about it. But I am really stoked to see such an awesome group come out to just start this conversation. This is the 4th Hacktivation that we've run for Reallocate, and this is already one of the largest groups of potential collaborators on projects that we've had. So that's really exciting. We started these with the intent of just being social impact focused, helping the social entrepreneurs or nonprofits that had ideas and that needed additional tech capacity to move their projects forward. And this time around, we decided to focus specifically on homelessness. Juan and I both have been spending a lot of time in mid-market recently. She's been working in the neighborhood for a few years now. And it is just something that's so constantly present in our lives, and something that we really wanted to find a way that we could help with the resources that we have and the skills that we have. So really excited to see what we come out of today with, and what we can do together, not just in March, but in the future as well. Because this is really the kickoff for a much larger opportunity for collaboration that doesn't focus around one weekend, but that is about bringing all of these different partners together for a long term. So, you want to talk about?
Sure. Well, thank you, Kyle. And yeah, just to reiterate what he said, it's really, really great to see everybody here. And also to have this be the very first event in Free Space. I don't know how many of you guys were at the original Free Space just a couple blocks away. But it really is, the story behind it is essentially that we got this building for free and offered it to the community as an asset to see what would happen. And one of the most exciting things that we saw come out of it was mixing of people from all different backgrounds, from tech, from non-tech, people that were living on the streets sometimes, that were living in shelters, people that were living in the high-rise new condos across the street, and just really seeing amazing things happen out of those connections of people coming together. And that's really the essence of what Free Space is about, is this neutral space, this creative space, this open and inviting space, and we're really, really excited to be right on market with such amazing neighbors. And even though he's not here, I just want to put out a huge thank you to Will Thatcher, who's the owner of this building, that he's allowing us to use this space as the next Free Space. So there will be many different iterations of what it looks like as we create together, and have it be a place for people to come together, and I want everybody to know that it's always open for you guys to come and use in whatever capacity, as long as what you do is free. That's our one requirement. And so yeah, we're really excited that this is the very first event that we're having here, because for us this is a lot of the essence of what Free Space is about being a place for people to come together and collaborate and create and meet each other. So thank you all.
Fantastic. So a little bit of our agenda today, and I think what excited me so much about being invited to hold space for you was this concept, this idea of people who are serving and working with the homeless community and in the tech community as well. Sort of two different sides of it, and then also like a city component as well, and bringing them into a room. And I don't think I have to say anything that I'm not saying anything that you don't already know, whereas oftentimes we're working in our organizations, but we're very, very separate, and we're not having those conversations that we need to be having, or able to step into the innovation to solve our problems, move whatever issue to the next level, because we don't have other voices, other perspectives, other expertise, other passions to help us see a little bit more clearly, to turn it over a little bit and show us a new way. But that's not happening here right now because we're doing something different. Not only are you infusing free space with who you are and also your passions and your expertise, but you, by showing up together, are creating this collective intelligence from multiple different perspectives that you'll be able to take out into the world, out into market, out into the city, and make a meaningful impact, because isn't that why we're here? So the topic at hand, or the subject at hand, the thing in the middle of the room is homelessness. So maybe just a quick show of hands, how many people here are homeless?
Recently unhomeless.
How many people know someone who's homeless or dealt with homelessness? How many people have seen a homeless person today? Pass by. How many people feel like homelessness is something we can do something about? And so we're here with sort of the common intent. We might be coming from different industries, but we can be aligned on this aspect of like, we can do something about it. And my belief, I'm just going to let you know, is that we are the best people. We are the people that we are waiting for. So our agenda a little bit today is going to be underneath this framing of this question that I sort of drafted up, which I really think is at the heart of this, is what can we do, what's something that we can do to revolutionize the way that we serve the homeless community in various different capacities. And I don't mean serving in a sort of like paternal sort of way. I want to put that out there, but any way that we show up when we serve the homeless community, like empowering them, bringing resources to them so they can make their own decisions, all of that underneath that. But what can we do to revolutionize the way that we do those kinds of things? So our agenda today, we just did the welcome framing, and or I'm on the flow part now where we're speaking through the agenda, but we're going to do a check-in. We want to know who's in the room, what you're bringing, and what draws you to this. Then we're going to do a quick introduction to Action Cafe, which is going to be most of what you're doing. It's going to be fast. You're going to be putting your ideas out there, talking, creating, making, and then at the end there's going to be project pitches, yeah? And then we'll do a checkout to sort of close it out. So we feel like this is a good sort of setup for Hacktivation, which is going to be awesome at the end of the month. So before we get started, just a few logistical things. There is a bathroom. I haven't seen it, but
Upstairs back there.
It's back there.
Yeah, up the stairs.
In that hallway. I have such a very short time with you. You have such a very short time with each other. So there is not going to be a bio break. What we ask is that you post yourself and take care of yourself. So if you need to eat a break, if you need a snack, go get that and come back, right? So you don't have to excuse yourself. You don't have to ask my permission. Just make it happen. The bathroom is up the dark stairway into somewhere. And then there's food over there. Any questions before we get going? Because I just want to sort of make sure anything that's alive that I can address.
When is this plan to go till?
1. So ask fast. I'm sorry, it's over much, but again, there's minutes. Anything else? Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around in a circle. Who are you? Who do you work for? Sort of like, what organization do you work for or do you represent? And then the last one is, what draws you to this conversation on homelessness and okay. You can start over to my right.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon. I work for a company called Dev Bootcamp, and we train people how to be software engineers in about 9 weeks. I'm here because I care about homelessness. I'm not involved in the community as much as I'd like to be, and we also have about 500 alumni who work at various tech companies who I think are very compassionate people who could offer some technical support.
I'm Stacy. I work for Larkin Street Youth Services. We serve homeless youth in the community. I'm here to collaborate. I think it's amazing that we're pulling so many different people together because it is a combined effort to fight homelessness.
My name is Tim West. I started something called Food Hackathon. We're essentially a business plan competition trying to crowdsource hardware and software solutions to some of the challenges in our food system. And I'm specifically very interested in the Central Market and the Improve SF initiative geared towards food access and food justice. And I'm also opening a chain of healthy fast food restaurants looking to launch here.
My name's Eva. I work with Stacy at Larkin Street Youth Services. I work on their HIV prevention team. And I'm drawn to this because I feel like over the past few years I've noticed that the people that we work with, the young people we work with, are really engaged with technology, much more so than a lot of our staff. And so I think we've been held back in our ability to like use that as a resource to engage our clients. So I'm really excited.
Hey, I'm Patrick Colson, and I work for Community Housing Partnership. I guess I'm the volunteer manager, and I also do stuff on the website. I guess I'm a communications and marketing associate as well. Yeah, basically, I'm here because I don't think I've really gone much outside CHP's bubble, and I'd like to see different approaches to, I guess, providing solutions to homelessness.
I'm Mo Tracy. I work for Spotify, which is a fairly recent addition to the neighborhood. We're right across the street above the Warfield. And I care a lot about mid-market and the Tenderloin. I'm here to learn and also figure out ways to connect access to resources, some of our human capital, and the needs of the community.
Hi, I'm Daniel Ladd. I'm the Development Director at Hospitality House. We're a community center serving the Tenderloin Mid-Market 6th Street corridor. I come to the table as that and also a resident of the neighborhood. I was also a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee for the tech meetings that are moving in the tax breaks. I've lived here for a really long time. And, I think just, those of us who work and live here really need to come together and, we can kind of just solve any problem with the community process. That's how we kind of operate from.
My name is Sean Galvanos. I do a few different things. Some of them that are relevant are I'm on the board at the Bike Kitchen. I drive a taxi, and I have some extensive sales experience in technology. I am a fan of free space. I've sort of been involved in the beginning in a light capacity. I want to get more involved, and I feel like we have the resources to kind of solve what we do.
I'm Ivan Vera. I work at Daniel Hospitality House, and I run the community arts program next door. One of the things we believe that poverty does is stifle a lot of great things, creativity, and things like that improve our well-being. So we try to teach people to be self-sufficient, to make money out of their art skills. We sell their stuff, they get 100% of the stuff. We try to empower them to that. So we offer resources and any.
I'm John Mills. I run a venture-funded startup down in the Twitter building there. I'm also an advisor to Reality and help start free space with these guys. And I'm here to hopefully provide new capital to solve these problems.
My name is Megan Trotter. I'm the program manager for the Tenderloin Technology Lab with the St. Anthony Foundation. St. Anthony's is a large multi-service organization serving meals, with a clinic, social work center, drug and alcohol recovery program, clothing program, all these things. But I manage the Tech Lab. We're a free access and training center in the Tenderloin, working with primarily homeless and also looking at ways to use technology to help people living in poverty. So that's my interest. That's why.
I'm Bruce Beery with Episcopal Community Services, the Director of Development. Episcopal Community Services is the largest provider of homeless shelter in San Francisco. We have over 550 homeless individuals staying in the shelters every night. We also serve over 1,000 in our supportive housing units. We do a lot for our clients, but there's a lot more that we can do, we feel, on behalf of our clients. And my presence here is to see how we can
I'm Karen Bernice, and I'm the Associate Director at Episcopal Community Services, but I'm not wearing that hat today. The hat I'm wearing today is as a member of the Homeless Employment Collaborative, Hospitality House. It's one of the 10 agencies as well that provide job training and employment support to folks who are unhoused in our city. And I'll tell the truth that I am here because we have some very specific needs that we're hoping others of y'all with the tech skill can help us solve.
I'm Dave Shelton. I volunteer with Reallocate, do some writing for them, and so here to try to get some of the backstory so I can write some stuff later that hopefully will get more eyes on what this group hopes to achieve and does achieve.
If it's okay, I'll jump in.
Yes.
My name is Cheyenne Farrington. I am the Strategic Initiatives Manager at CHP. We don't know what that means yet, but everybody asks, and I don't know. But it's going to be sort of forming as CHP takes a new direction. We are really focused on data and learning. That's sort of like my part in this. I'm really excited to be here. I love the idea. So
CHP is part of it as well.
My name is Josh Wolf. I'm a freelance writer, and I'm going to be writing a few stories about the Hacktivation for Shareable, which is one of the media partners on the event.
And Alana.
I'm Seçkin. I currently work at Udemy, which is an online marketplace for education. I'm right now building a marketplace for people who are passionate about doing something about homelessness in San Francisco. So if you want to work on a specific problem, then you can create a campaign and people can fund you. It's going to be like Kickstarter, but for San Francisco, for people who are working on homelessness. It's not launched yet. I launched a single campaign. I can show it to you guys. It's online Operation Asset Lab.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Greg Moore. I'm with the St. Francis Living Room, which is a tiny senior center over in the TL, serving very low income and homeless seniors. We have currently about 180 clients. Approximately 30% are homeless. In a space that's probably about a third the size of this room, we serve 17,000 to 18,000 breakfasts, healthy breakfasts a year. On a shoestring budget would be generous. What draws me here today are several reasons. One, tech resources for our organization. Being a small operation, we don't have many resources. But also in as was worded, how we can work together to better the lives of these people that deserve all the respect and support. Good to be here.
My name is Kevin Sharps. I'm the co-chair of San Francisco's Local Homeless Coordinating Board. And for those of you who don't understand what that is or how that's sort of set up, the federal government sort of requires all sort of communities that receive federal money to have a body by which homeless programs are evaluated and coordinated and sort of aligned almost with federal goals in order to get federal money into the city. San Francisco gets about $23 million in federal money every year to support the organizations that are working to end homelessness and to keep people from becoming homeless in San Francisco. So our interest is that we like our efforts to be coordinated, and we sort of like to sort of make sure that the pieces sort of all fit together and that they work in unison towards the goal of ending homelessness. And so that's my interest, and that's what I'm doing.
I'm Kit. I'm from Project Homeless Connect. We serve the homeless population at events and through our program Everyday Connect in our office with resources, so like connecting homeless people to resources. I'm the volunteer coordinator, so I work with our large group of 23,000 volunteers that are in our database, and I'm interested specifically in learning how to use tech to better engage our volunteers and also serve our participants.
I'm Kate Greca. I'm also from Project Homeless Connect. I'm the Director of Events and Marketing. And so Kit gave you a little overview of what we are, but I'm here because I'm always interested in new solutions, new ways we can solve our challenges, both in the different audiences that we serve currently and engaging new ones.
I'm Ellen Parker, and I unfortunately have to go in a few minutes because I have another meeting at City Hall. But I work in the Mayor's Office of Economic Workforce and Development as the point person for Central Market and the Tenderloin and 6th Street. I'm very glad to help this space in their initial incarnation, and I'm super excited that you guys could be here. So just kind of saying hi. I'm excited to see all you guys here with great minds.
Kyle Stewart, Executive Director of Reallocate. I'm here because you all said yes.
I'm Amelia. I work for Tenderloin Housing Clinic, case manager at the Seneca Hotel just around the corner. And I'm here because I think our agencies would benefit a lot from collaborating with other agencies and especially implementing some technical solutions to problems we're seeing.
My name is Caroline Caselli. I'm a support service manager for Tenderloin Housing Clinic. So I oversee 4 SRO hotels. And I think the reason I'm here is because I'm really excited about streamlining affordable housing applications and potentially working on that project with other good folks.
There are 2 people who entered the circle. I'll let you speak in, and I think Lisa.
All right, hi, my name is Cheryl Flora, and I am here from the Salesforce Blackwell Foundation. I'm a new member heading up their technology and product group.
The last question is like, what drew you to this?
Pardon?
What drew you to this?
Well, you know, we give away a lot of software to nonprofits, and we're looking to do more of that, and especially in this kind of area. So I'm here to check it out, and I think it's the first time they've been involved.
Well, I was walking down Market Street and I walked into the hospitality house next door, and this lovely man just kind of told me a bit about it, and it blew my mind because there's so much resources that they have, and I'm here because I'd like to further that. I supposedly do fashion design, and it gives me a venue to kind of create. And I'm just real happy about that. And I support you guys very much. Thank you. Lisa. My name is Lisa.
Thank you. And then I'm the last. I'm Ro, and live in Vallejo. I'm a host from the art of hosting. And what brings me to this is, basically, this is a conversation that matters. I do some work over in Berkeley, and we just sort of walk by the homeless community all the time. And I've always had questions about that ever since I was young, born and raised in the Bay Area. And it is a privilege and an honor to be in a room full of people who are going to do something about that and not talk about it. So let's get started. Let's put people together. Let's begin to create together and sort of suss out some of these things. So I'm going to chat through Action Cafe. This is how it's going to work. Action Cafe, which is kind of a creation that I made, is going to be the following way. So we have about 28. What I would like is there is going to be a host. There are going to be 7 stations. And there's going to be a host at each station. But the host of each station is going to be a nonprofit who has a question, project, or an area that they want input on. Underneath this question, what need, if met, would revolutionize the way that my organization serves the homeless? So you come up with a project that you specifically have in mind, or an area that you would like input in, and you're going to write that down in the middle of the circle and just announce it to everyone. And then they're going to go to each of the stations, and they're going to be the host of that station. So they will stay there the entire time because they will be the people who continues the conversation for every new group. Everyone else will self-organize. There's going to be 3 open spots in addition to the host, so 4 at each station. There will be 3 rounds. You will address questions each round. So I'm going to pose a question, you're going to talk, you're going to create, you're going to write, and then I'm going to give you a minute warning, a 2-minute warning, and then you're going to, at the end, I'll close it, and then you'll switch. Everyone moves except the host. You will do this 2 times. And then at the end of it, we're going to be doing like a pitch or report out session, but I'll tell you more about that when we get there. Now, Is there any questions about the process? Anything that's super confusing? Because I did say that no time.
So all nonprofits will be one of the, like, will be the host?
I need 7 nonprofit volunteers because there's more representatives of the nonprofit space. So wait. We'll do democratically or kind of Darwinian. What about? Hold on.
And then do you also, like, so if one nonprofit has more than one idea or like 10 ideas, you know, what happens then?
Well, ideally, I mean, this will help you sort of, what's the word, refine, but I guess what I would say is like put a particular area you would like input in or a particular project. You cannot put all 10 of the things that you want here just because we don't have time for that. We could do 4 more of these and help you, but today we're just going to stick with one or an area. Is that clear? So, 7 of you. There are papers in the middle. And there are pens. Okay, step in, write your thing, and then announce it to the group.
Since we're multiple people from the same agency?
Just one.
Agency?
Yep.
Okay.
One representative from that agency. Holy cow.
So is that, how many nonprofit agencies just did this?
It should be 7.
It
1, 2, 3,
No, I think what they're doing is
4, 5, 6, 7. No, I counted.
You're 7.
You're 7. You're 7.
That makes sense too, but I think actually I was right.
That was my fault for listening more.
It all makes sense.
Cool. I'm going to give them 2 minutes to talk about it, and then write it down.
And do I have to live in one of CHP's buildings? Or?
We have a separate thing with CHP right now and Dish, where we're doing 3 workshops with
Trying to get it. Okay, so each of the nonprofits, I want you to announce your thing that you've written down, and then we'll go around and we'll do that, and then you'll go to a station, and you'll pick a station which are already set up. So let's convene back in a circle so we can hear everyone, see everyone. Give me energy. Cool. And we can start with Danny.
Online store for our art sales, for our art program.
A database of San Francisco services that would be searchable, would have filters, and would stay up to date.
Oh, God.
Since I knew you guys were going into those 2, I figured I wouldn't. And I tried to pose it as more of a challenge than a solution. So the ability to collect, organize, analyze, and act on meaningful data to increase our impact.
And I have, how can PCS attract the resources necessary to provide more services to our homeless and supportively housed clients?
I'm the Homeless Employment Collaborative, and this is all about jobs for folks who are unhoused. And there are 4 separate sectors to this work, some of which involve tech companies and their vendors prioritizing hiring folks who live in this neighborhood. Another solution involves there being Wi-Fi in the shelters to help with people's job search. Another idea is that we can incentivize graduates of the HEC program to keep in touch about how's it going for them, and the incentive is a smartphone with service so long as you keep in touch. And the final idea is a tech curriculum. So we do job training for lots and lots of folks, over 500 every year, and either y'all develop a tech curriculum that you teach, and we will bring you people who are willing to go through that curriculum, or tell us about how we design it, and we will teach it. Jobs.
Next paper, which I think is Greg.
I'm on. So the living room. I came here, my first thought when I heard about Hacktivation was we need a new website. But expanding beyond that, and even more so during this morning's meeting time so far, a website which would include and currently be updated with more current video interviews with homeless people for the purpose of educating the general public on the plights of the homeless, on their humanity, and thus hopefully encouraging people and their companies or organizations to participate, whether it's in volunteer services or financial support or tech support or whatever.
So our, I guess, goal is to find the best way to engage volunteers and in the effort to end homelessness. And we come to this because we have a large group of people who always come to our events, and we call on. At every event, we have 800 to 1,000 volunteers come in. So finding ways to streamline our process with just registration to make it simpler, but also like all the way to how do we use like the resources and the knowledge and the skills of all of our volunteers to serve the people in the best way possible. So maximizing that relationship and that effort.
We came up with an affordable housing application process that's online. So the possibility for folks to fill out multiple applications at once, for people to be able to get their waitlist number online, so you don't have to always have a phone to call. You can use the public library and access that via the internet.
We were kind of thinking something like the Common App that colleges use, like a similar concept.
Okay, so orange papers, find a station. That is your station. And then everyone else, organize around them, fill up their chairs.
Cool.
I haven't seen like any like discussions though.
Just so. We're just waiting for it. We're going to do it in I see you got a hold of Daryl.
You want to grab that chair, or another one behind this?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I just finished the meeting on that. This is perfect timing. So what we're doing right now is we have nonprofits who are in the so they come to this space, they just stay there, and everyone else is coming there to learn more about it. When I was a case manager at the family shelter.
And what could it do beyond that? Well, feedback and other things.
Are there
No.
you know of any examples of anybody Sam and the Fateful Fools come to mind?
Yep.
Met him at the
Sam and I are working together, and we've already got some support ideas going in terms of resources from local colleges that hopefully will towards that
using a website for this kind of instruction?
Well, as no bogey, I can't help but think it would be a lot better than current lack of anything. And especially when I was saying earlier that I did a little bit of this a couple of years ago when I was with YMCA running a senior program, not homeless and not necessarily low income, but we started a program called Recording Senior Stories, where I interviewed, videoed seniors talking about significant parts of their lives for an hour. We burned it on a disc and give it to them so they could share it. And it really put me in one on how popular it is.
Having the whatever to get them all connected and then to support them, so it's the tech support too. This isn't working for me, what do I do? Our little two tech people don't have capacity, and it's crazy that our folks are unconnected at night from web service when they could be doing things like looking for a job.
I feel like you have a lot of ideas here.
Yeah, so what's
like,
resonating with anybody?
I mean, we could spend the rest of the day talking about all of those points. So like, what is kind of the most important, do you think, that could lead to getting the resources for the other pieces? If you had to start with one of them, what would you feel like is possible?
Well, can I ask it another way? Because I think they're all important. What resonates with any of you all, or what feedback do you have?
So I think if you don't have Wi-Fi in the shelters, then they can't be implementing any of the tech curriculum that they would be studying. So I feel like that's a core. Access to internet is the fundamental problem. I think the first thing.
But if you had a smartphone with service, you have Wi-Fi.
I think the cost of that is too much, and I think people don't need to have a smartphone. They need to have a computer with a browser, and they can do that at a library, they can do it at a shelter. I don't see smartphone. I think that's a huge cost and the maintenance thing that I would say, just my gut feel is to put that off, strike that through. There's no reason that has to be mobile. They can access the internet through a browser and a computer, which would be, I think, a lot lower cost.
If you have Wi-Fi and you have a smartphone without service, you could still use the internet, right? And so there's a ton of like extra, people always upgrade their smartphones. There's like dead droids in everybody's house. So if you have, I'm with you, if you have Wi-Fi in the shelters, you could also just give out dummy phones without service and they could connect to the network. So they could be mobile and have, so it sounds to me like Wi-Fi is also sort of maybe one of the easier things to implement.
And on the tech curriculum, like we have a curriculum, but it's for software developers that is might not work. It's very long. It's like a 100-hour, 9-week program. So we might be able to help in that regard, but I think the Wi-Fi is a more important issue for them to have access to tutorials that we could outline the resources or have a workshop or introduce people. But just giving the tech curriculum, I don't think I think we'd want to break up a chunk of it and like try that small piece. Hey, let's do one workshop. Let's try one little website or one initiative. I don't know what their computer skills are with the, is it just typing? Is it Microsoft Word, or is it building a website? Because like those are both tech skills.
Can they read?
Yes. So that's just to give a little bit more information. Yes, our graduates from our program read, and graduates from our program can use the computer. I mean, can type and do Word, and some of them do Excel, and certainly can use the internet.
Cool.
And some of our training programs are 6 months long. So we also have time with people. Yeah. Okay. So was everybody saying Wi-Fi in the shelters? Start with that.
One thing that actually drew me to this group in the first place is I just got a call right before I came in from a food tech company that's looking to expand into the Bay Area. And what they specifically need is freezer space. They need it in San Francisco. So they wanted to know if I knew of any excess freezer space, because they just partnered with Amazon Prime. Amazon's going to be delivering their prepared meals. So they want to be able to rent freezer space and potentially hire and train a staff of people to essentially, when they get an email in, go to the freezer, pull out the soup, put it in a freezer bag, and Amazon Prime comes, picks up the freezer bag, and takes it. So it's a job opportunity for somebody, but it's also a way, if you have freezer space already that's underutilized, to utilize that underutilized resource and make money off of it. So I thought that would work particularly well if Chef's Program, for instance, or any of your other participants had extra freezer space, because then you could essentially make money off that resource, and you could give them jobs, which could lead to training programs, which could lead to expanding that or anything else. But at least it's an immediate fix.
Right. So I love that idea.
Yeah. I'm curious about something. If I, for example, build the website that I'm planning to do, like I'm in the process of building, if you guys raise like $5,000 by writing what you are just on the website, you will be able to get it done, right? I'm thinking like you could get this application done for like by paying $5,000 to the developer. So that would be the process. I'm trying to like combine both of the ideas. So you want this website to be live, right?
Yeah.
And then you will be able to go talk with the other organizations and like try to convince them to use it. And I'm building the crowdfunding platform to like help people. Yeah. So I think that we could work together and like
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more expensive than that actually. Like,
I'm from Turkey and I work in Turkey, so we can
I think there's also, I don't know, I see the bigger issue with money is like convincing people to get on. Because the only way that this would even be useful is if everyone has
everyone, or like maybe like 50%.
Even
50%
yeah.
is like.
But honestly, I think the way to do it, because I've thought about this too, it's like you have to inundate them, slam them with so many applications that it's like you can't keep up with the demand. So then you have to, I mean, I'm like, do it. Like, you have to inundate them so that way you're like, listen, this is a pain point now, right? It's a pain point because of me. Help me help you take the pain away. So that way, you know, it's like, yeah, because then it makes, I mean, I think it's obviously like, it'll also help reduce their costs, because right now they employ people to man the phones to tell people about their wait list, you know, where they are on the wait list. Oh, you need to update your address. Oh, let me mail you out that form. Like, there's all this like work that's done to keep people, or to like let people know where they are and what they can do to maintain that status. And so if they, you know, doing it online would cut a lot of their manpower, which would save costs, which everybody loves.
I think that's an awesome idea, and I think this could be done. And like, the thing is, if you get, for example, if you talk with like 10 organizations and you get like three of them to like commit to using this, and then like the others are going to like slowly like adopt, you know, like adopt this.
I know my old job is actually already committed. Like, they would be willing to use it. St. Joe's would, and then you know, and then I've talked to other organizations who are also interested.
Do the requirements for different for you to be eligible for housing like different properties, do they differ significantly between organizations? So would it still be kind of like a current college application? Like when I'm applying to college, I do the Common App, but I'd also have to fill out that college's application in addition. At least when I apply, you know.
Well, the thing is,
so
the problem with the Common App is like, what I've looked at is if you have, like, I've taken like maybe 5 common housing applications and then I combine them into one, so you're like one like super long Common App, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a pain to go through all of that. There's like a lot of different screens. There's a lot of like asset, income, rental history, like all this stuff that you would need to get that information in. So like you really need the case manager to be able to fill that in. A lot of times because of their trauma histories, like people don't remember it or they don't know where they used to live or whatever, so you have to talk to the county assessor and blah 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 to figure that out. but like it's possible to PDF, like do form fill in PDFs for children's application and just have it like auto-fill. Even though like getting a comment, like getting a comment would be amazing, but like in the interim it would be
We're going to bring our conversations to a close. Ready for next round. Host, stay there. You will get a completely new group of people. You will fill that group of people in on what your last group talked about, how things have refined for you, what you've chosen, what you've decided, and then you'll get into discussing the next question. So the question that you will be chatting about at your next table is what about that idea really jazzes you up? Like, what are one or two good things in that where you feel like that's opportunity there? There's something really good and exciting about that. And you'll all share and create, again, write it down, take notes, document it, because it will really help your host fill in the next table. Okay, so go ahead and switch tables, all with the host, and then start your conversation.
Hey. I'm Sean.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. I'm floating. I'm just going to record for a little bit.
That sounds good. You're recording for Reallocate?
Yeah, Reallocate or Hacktivation, so we can get maybe some buzz for the event. Yeah.
It is about an online store you'd like to share?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit. I'm a floater.
So the last group we talked about, we're trying to do an online store for our program, which the hard part isn't the store, it's more like the administration and all the other like shipping and the infrastructure stuff. So the thing that jazz us up though is hospitality assets. Our artists keep 100% of the commissions from their pieces, so we'd like to broaden our reach and be able to do that more. The other thing is just, in general, it's a unique program. Not a lot of people do social service via the arts, so getting the word out about that, people support it a lot, so that's
it. Is there a way to involve, like, sort of to outsource shipping and make it easier? Like, clearly you need some sort of like art clerk that can package up the thing, but how do you get rid of the art? Like, how do you, can Amazon ship the stuff for you? Or, you know, what's an easy way to take it so that you don't have to run to the post office every time, you know? Right, so there is some administrative stuff that has to happen, but maybe it doesn't have to be that much if you can figure out. So sort of you could pass on those costs to the person buying the art, you know?
Yeah.
Like the shipping and handling costs. So that all you're really doing is you're packaging it. I'm assuming, is the art local?
Yeah, it's created in our, where Ivan works over there.
So it'll go from, it originates and leaves from next door. Essentially, more or less.
Or from my office and our admin office. Hi.
Cheryl. Don't mind me being a little bit late. Hi.
That's okay.
Did you already say what
Very casual. We're all nonprofit. We understand.
ideas jazzing you up? Yeah.
We were talking about the online store. I was saying like our putting up a store is not the big deal. It's the maintaining it and the administration and stuff. Is I'm sure you're aware of who has extra time at a nonprofit. So.
Can you just give me a little like rundown of like the vision?
Yeah, so Hospitality House has about 200 artists that work in our studio and gallery space. We also exhibit our work like any gallery would. So we have regular art openings. We work with the local art organizations to kind of work together on them. When our artists, who are mostly poor and homeless, sell art, they get to keep 100% of the proceeds. So a lot of the work we do is getting them exhibition ready so they can sell their work. Yeah, so we're just trying to broaden that reach by having like an online store that we can promote and expose their work a little bit more. And also, promote the organization a bit more. That's what we were talking about. And I was saying the thing that jazzed us up is that initiative about letting people keep the money from it. We don't charge a commission or anything like that. So we are pretty committed to that as an organization that values self-sufficiency. We just want to help facilitate that's that.
So you do have to figure out how to do this as low cost as possible.
Low cost and low staff.
Pardon?
Low cost and low staff involvement as possible. Not to say that we didn't want any staff involvement. We just want to process that works within our capacity, I guess.
How much volunteer?
Well, we have a volunteer program that's part of our leadership development program. So a lot of our participants, our staff is like 90% former clients or people similar. So we value hiring from our constituency, and part of that is the volunteer program. The Hospitality House is geared towards people's professional development or leadership development. So a lot of our volunteers come from our population, trying to build their skills so they can work in nonprofits or work at SROs or that kind of thing. Also, we have a group of corporate and more fundraising type volunteers who are a different stretch. So the possibility exists to work with corporate partners.
Is there anybody doing this sort of thing in other cities? It'd be really interesting to see, because I think the idea is super compelling. There's like a really interesting component, which is having access to art that you normally wouldn't have access to, right? Because homeless and poor artists just are probably underrepresented, which I think is super compelling when looking for art, or if I was in the position to buy art. So who else is doing this? If anybody, can you tap them as a resource in terms of like, instead of reinventing the wheel, sort of borrowing their wheel and saying,
steal stuff all the time.
Yeah. So if there's an online store or someone else doing something similar, it'd be really good to find out how they did it.
And to add to that thought, maybe like not only use models that are existing if they do exist, if they do or if they don't, offering like a joint, because I'm sure that there are other cities also who have an expression of artistic expression, and to create like a wide, almost like this would be a prototype for a wider platform, right? Without the exploitative bit. I just don't want it to go up there and look at the art from the poor people.
Right.
Stay away from that. But to create a resource that other people can tap into as well, so you can then become the hub for that, and it can start right here. But it's just an idea that I have, like that would be really interesting, and that would be.
Yeah, this is ground zero for a much bigger project.
Yeah.
Because we're not the only community that has homeless artists or poor, underrepresented artists.
Right.
Actually, every artist is poor and underrepresented for the most part.
At least starting off.
Yeah. But I think that would be super interesting.
Yeah, I know there are other relatively similar organizations, so yeah, maybe they do it.
Yeah, and figure out how they deal with the logistics, the photography, file imports and Hacktivation. And I got out of
connected having a Salesforce database to maybe a portal on the website where they can log in and have specialized information that was relevant. But it's interesting to have it in sort of the other way around, search.
Right. Because as I was going through the Link SF website, I was saying that that's exactly what my clients don't want to do. They don't want to get a list of 20 resources that they then have to go through each fund and see where it is, if they like it. They want it to be tailored to them.
So my concern, I guess going back to the issue, is that they'll still get frustrated.
Their public perception, which they want to not become the next Google bus.
So I don't know, and I'm not a person at all, so I don't know if it's possible to do that. If that's something that's feasible. And then you still have the problem of upkeep. There's definitely still a problem of upkeep. And I would wonder about like how tailored it could actually get, and questions about privacy. Because it's like, okay, you put in, female, age, whatever else. That's still going to give you like, okay, whatever fits those criteria, and it seems like really to get something actually tailored, you'd almost need like the creepy ads that are on Facebook, or the ones that like know all of your search history, you know what I mean? To be able to like, you'd almost need some sort of level of that, and I don't know that necessarily, because you do want to empower them to be able to say like, okay, what I need is this. And let me put in that I need this, and it will then give me, like the Google of the homeless services that meet that thing that they need.
And I kind of, when I was thinking about this originally, I was envisioning simply where you like put in those things that, your age, things that could potentially disqualify you from something, but then have like list like checkboxes where it's like I need mental services, like I need help clearing my criminal record, like things that just like simple questions of like what are you trying to do,
and if we had it be like a social network of nonprofits where everyone maintained their own page and answered their own questions about who they like what sort of people they interact with, like I work for HIV positive seniors, right? And they could put in that they only do this thing for HIV positive seniors, then anyone who isn't an HIV positive senior wouldn't find them in their searches. But also I'm imagining that same HIV positive senior nonprofit could also say that they currently have a 1-bedroom apartment available in such and such building, or that they also, here is our schedule of meals, here's when we give out food, and then if there's somebody else who's looking for food who happens to be HIV positive senior, they'll pull up, those sorts of filters could work, but I imagine it still will return multiple results, and people will still have to do their own legwork to a good extent. I mean, it's just, it's part of being resourceful, and it's a life skill. But we would have to incentivize that upkeep for the nonprofits. There would have to be a reason why they want to do it. Right? So like with our events, with the nonprofits that come to our events, we now have them fill out a SurveyMonkey form that says, this is the person who's coming, this is their name, this is their email address, but then also like, these are the populations we serve. Because I don't want to put a nonprofit that deals with addiction recovery, but only deals with addiction recovery for veterans in the addiction recovery section. I want to put them in veterans. You know what I mean? And so like, I need to know in like a very physical way that filter. So this, and I'm imagining this would be in that same sort of way, but in a digital space. Right.
So one of the stories that we're telling right now about our project is making forth this idea in a company. It's this idea bubbled up, and then I just started bringing people to the table from across the sector. So from nonprofits to local government to private entities to actually get on the table as well. And sharing the idea and figuring out how to collaborate to make it a reality. So there's a phrase that I love now. I heard it 10 years ago, and I think it's going to be valid for a long time. It's collaboration is the new competition, and I think that that's really true. It's something that the nonprofit world doesn't do very well because we live in this idea of resource scarcity, right? So I only have a little, I'm not going to share what I have, but the idea is that you really get more abundance when you actually bring everybody. It's like that stone soup,
And I think that really is where our sector and business in general is going. If you think of nonprofits now needing to be more business-like and needing to really get to a higher level, like a more sophisticated level of data, grappling, because it really is something that's been present in business for a very long time. And increasingly with scarce resources, nonprofits are having to act more like businesses, which is why these conversations are so important.
Is that a GoPro?
It is.
I'm getting one.
Yes.
I don't know what he's got.
For your interface, for people that want to do but either way, they take their data with them, and then you could assure them.
I mean, some people like that. Some people like that.
Thank you. I'm so excited about your conversation. Big ups to Sean for being my helper. Okay, so last round, y'all. Last round. Host stay. Everyone else migrate. And what I would ask you for this last part of it, you're really going to need to utilize your pieces of paper, your Post-its, your markers, your pins, because you're going to be creating, connecting, and presenting. So your last group is going to be your working group, your design group. You're going to make a pitch together, and then you'll present it to the rest of the group of what you came up with. Your pitch will have to explain what issue is this trying to address? What is the solution? Describe it in sort of your creative detail framework. And then what resources do you need or require to make this thing that you've created happen? Okay? So, the last framing question is going to be, how can technology assist or be of assistance to the issue in the middle? So you might have already talked or discussed ways to, like, it might be a specific tech issue, but there might be other things required that could help you be more effective, more technology use, organizing, etc. If you have any more questions about it, I think we should talk a little bit more about it, but is there any overall confusion over staff? Feeling pretty good? Okay. Go ahead and switch. Last table. Fill the groups. Thank you.
Look how long it takes me so far.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at
So we're so excited to hear about what came out of this. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a 2-minute pitch to discuss. Hopefully, writing this down helps you focus your thoughts. But you're going to say, what is it? What issue does it address? Detail the solution that you would like and what resources you need. 2 minutes to say all of that information. You will come and you will present here because this is the most central place that everyone can see. So if you, ideally you're the nonprofit host, come and present your idea in front of the group, and then we'll go around until everyone's on or is ready to go. So can we start here? Do you feel pretty ready? Sure. You can bring up your sheets that you drew up.
Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm from Timberland. social worker and do a digital master application, that digital master application could get farmed out to multiple different housing developers and received by the housing developers. The housing developers would then be able to communicate with clients via text message to let them know when they're up on their wait list. And so they get a text message letting them know that they're, come in to interview, or you're number 5,456 on the wait list. You only have another 7 years to go. And then eventually that communication with clients would better enable clients to end up in housing. What we need in order to make that happen is a mobile app and software database functionality, as well as buy-in from housing developers who are willing to accept their applications online, as well as nonprofits who are, willing to work with us to get the consents necessary to even put the application in on behalf of the client.
Okay. Thank you. Who's next? Or you can put it over.
Move out of your way.
All right. So we have a problem that everybody has, which is data collection and analysis, and really having collecting and how we're using that more impactful. So the solution is real-time data collection instead of paper-based and someone has to enter it and then another person has to review it. That goes into dynamic reporting, where anyone in the system can pull the reports they need for their job to be useful in this whole system. Then we have the ability to communicate effectively, share transparently with other agencies about how we're having an impact, and learn about what we're doing and how we can be more impactful. And that goes straight back up into asking big questions. What are we trying to do? How are we doing it? How can we do it better? So the resources, we need lots of resources, of course. So we want to find the right partners. That includes everyone from the data heads, the engineers, other agencies. We also need the software and the hardware to do it, so the devices and the platform. And the idea is really to get all those resources together, not be solving a problem one scale, but really solve one big problem together. That was, I think, a minute.
That's amazing.
Services in San Francisco that's easily accessible, easily filterable, that both consumers and the service providers can use. So originally this came from wanting the actual interface, like how does the user access this information, but we realized the larger problem is the database behind it. So we need a platform for the service providers or the agencies to input their information, what clientele they serve, what services they offer, what they don't offer, and then there needs to be a filtering system. So how do you organize this information in such a large database? And then the upkeep of it all, like she was saying, the buy-in from organizations. There have been attempts at this, I guess. A lot of people, we've talked about the homeless wiki that died very easily, because how do you get people to want to invest in this, to convince them that it is a useful resource, that it will make their jobs easier and more efficient. And then this kind of leading to the multiple interfaces, this could connect with the House Us, or someone talked about Link SF that's getting started and kind of doing this but needs a bigger database. And then also talking about interfaces that are filterable, having
a person be able to go and input, I'm female, I am monolingual Spanish, I have a criminal record, what's available to me? Yeah.
Thank you. What is LinkUp? Is it like the Amber?
So LinkUp is it's a mobile optimized resource database of basic services. So it's food, shelter, hygiene services, medical care, and technology access. So it's real time, has basic information. But right now, so I'm kind of editing it, and but right now the big issue is that we don't have I created a database, and it's not something that's stable. And so having something where multiple interfaces are connected with different populations and create their interface, that's going to be most helpful. And then all is that like Anagroga? So ours was created looking primarily from the homeless and non-native technology user. So how can it be most simplified?
Next group. Next group. Ready? Okay.
Sure. So the homeless employment collaborative providers have an intended impact and a theory of change around that. We really don't know if what we're doing is working. We don't have data past 6 months employment placement for folks who graduate. So what we'd like to do is give folks an easy way to give us that information and provide them an incentive to give us that information. And so the idea is that the graduates of our programs who are placed in employment get a free smartphone. And by if they complete a every so often, every month, every quarter, whatever, survey about how they're doing, where you working, where you promoted, what's your wage now, and what other help might you need in keeping your job or in finding a new job. If they give us that information, then we keep the service paid for with their phone. So the resources that we need are phones, donated, used, new. We need an app to take the data, which might be by doing that or might be by using their voice. And we need money for the service. That's the deal.
Thank you.
All right, so our idea is everyone who collaborated with me to create a volunteer onboarding platform, and which incorporates registration and then like skills matching, education, and then from there training videos based on what exactly the volunteer wants to do at our event, but also in the broader sense training on issues around homelessness and also all of the services that come to our event. So creating kind of someone who can be an individual who's doing outreach and educating, you know, people on the street if they're asking for a meal, like I'm hungry, I need some money, like knowing where they can go to get a meal, and knowing how to connect them to that service rather than just giving them money and hoping that they, you know, buy food with it. So in the broader sense, the issue is to engage the community or volunteers to end homelessness. The solution is to create training videos, and then creating a seamless registration process online through the Project Homeless Connect website. And the resources that we need are a videographer, web designer, volunteer database, and also outreach resources for any of our volunteers who want to engage further and pass along information. Cool. Thank you. Who's next? Daniel?
So physically having an online store is not that huge of an ordeal for us. Maybe we can put one up, but really the problem is that if you think about from the beginning of creating art all the way to when we would do check requests for commissions and stuff, Ivan will tell you that's a really long process and a lot of work. So we have to do something that's within our capacity for that. So the issue is really about developing it, managing it, all this stuff like documenting and shipping and all that stuff, and how we could do that within our capacity. We thought the solution was sort of part partnering with people, part utilizing volunteers in the tech industry, maybe utilizing corporate partnerships and others to help us with that. And these are our resources, so developers, money, professionals, time is a big resource for us, just project management and stuff.
Our issue, in a large sense, is lack of knowledge about, and we ran up with several adjectives here, deeply compassionate empathy for the homeless. As was noted, almost everybody in San Francisco has exposure to homeless people, but often it's the not pretty, the gritty, often unpleasant exposures that we have. There are many humans out there with human needs and human stories. This specifically goes into a need that my organization, The Living Room, has for a new website. And a way to make it a more effective website in terms of engaging the community, getting donations, volunteer resources, etc., would be to include video clips, 5-minute clips of personal stories, what it's like to be homeless or the reasons I am homeless, etc. The solution, pardon me, that all the groups came up with would be obviously a website for The Living Room featuring these clips, but also YouTube and possibly Facebook. Resources needed. Hospitality House, as it turns out, is getting grants, 2 grants for video production on homeless, working with Archive Productions and Urban Street Films, which part of that grant process would be educating and training individuals in that video making process, so an additional service there. And I put also Project Homeless Connect, since they're the Uber organization in terms of resources for the homeless. And then it was brought up by one of the groups that such a website is all well and good, video clips are all well and good, but how is that outreach going to take place? And as I retreated into my defensiveness, I said, I get out of my realm of experience and knowledge in terms of marketing, advertising, etc. And so that would be where collaborative organizations would be needed to market and promote.
So I'm going to move these chairs.
One more group, and I will say that we didn't get there in our discussion because it was a pretty wide-ranging and broad discussion, but it was how this organization, Episcopal Community Services, can generate the resource necessary to provide the level of client service that we want to in our organization. We went really wide on the conversation and didn't get to a proposed solution. But the proposed solution could be a marketing or promotional campaign in the city of San Francisco, and the resources necessary would be marketing, PR, and communications resource expertise from tech firms. So not your traditional tech type hands-on support as opposed to the other services that tech firms have that they need in order to conduct their business that might be brought to bear. So.
Thank you, everyone. So if you can help me move these chairs out of the center, we're going to gather up one more time and just do a little bit of checkup. One thing that I felt like was really, really true of this instance is there almost might be a sense of, but like I have tons and tons and tons of different ideas, and it's helped me clarify a little bit, but I still need a little bit more convergence. Like I still need a little bit more information or a little bit of a better landscape about what to do with this particular thing. And I think that this is why the preliminary meeting 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Hacktivation is such a good process, because this is how creativity works. This is how collaboration works. You have to give it space. You have to, or it doesn't work. You can't schedule it. You can't plan it. It's going to be in the shower, and a conversation is going to come to you that you had in this room and be like, oh, that's it, actually. If I could just do this and this and this and this and this, and all of a sudden you have synthesis, and you didn't know when it was happening. So this will give you, or this was meant to give you a strong start to, or to create a beginning of that process, to make that potential more of a reality for you. So there's 3 weeks of the settling process. Think about the things that you have talked about, chatted about, some other things that might connect, and then present it at Hacktivation and see what kind of comes to you around in terms of expertise. And you might be able to pull these really great things that are not necessarily expected, but like other services that tech companies use in the fantastic way and effective way that they do, could help tons of organizations around the city, so you might find that there too. So we're going to do a quick little checkout process. We can get you out not too far over time, but it's just like, maybe the question is, tell us what you had today. We'll go around and then we'll end the day close. So, oh, yeah. One insight that you had today, Kyle?
The groups I went around and talked to, sort of started with the idea of this being kind of technical around it, and it kept coming up again and again and again, is education. And it's such an important thing that I think every organization, be you for-profit or non-profit or in the city, can probably associate with just a better way of learn about what we're all doing here and how we can all
I've really taken away how in line we all are, that we are so separate sometimes and really don't connect very often this way, but so much of our ideas and our needs and our ideals are so aligned.
Not to reiterate that, but a very similar impression that it seems like a lot of the needs are very similar, and that I think even in the sort of more like corporate sector, tech sector, we deal with these challenges all the time, and when we open up and when we create platforms and APIs and share knowledge, a lot of this duplicate work gets alleviated, and you're able to function with fewer resources and sort of more power. So excited to see how it translates.
Yeah, I think I'm taking away kind of like, I feel like I knew that I needed all of these things, like training videos for volunteers and a new website, but I didn't know and see how it all was working together, and how great of an impact it could actually have on the community. And so just like really feeling like really good about moving forward with my specific, project, and yeah.
I don't know if I gained a particular insight today, but it's working with underserved population, which I've found in third career path in my life, to be immensely gratifying. And knowing other organizations, it's wonderful to have people, faces to identify with, that there are others of all ages and types that also are willing and interested in this population.
So this is a very specific insight, but I did not realize that affordable housing and below market rate housing were not the same thing. I thought they were just different words, but the same thing. So.
I think that long-term data collection is a problem for a lot of people. Obviously, when your clients are successful, that's a good thing, but when you're no longer providing services to them, it's hard to make sure that they are still succeeding and that they still get the resources they need. So I just thought the pitch about the phone where you have to fill out a question to maintain access was really interesting, and I just like thinking about different ideas to incentivize people to keep in contact with an organization or different organizations that help them succeed.
Can you move up a little?
Yeah, so I would say that my insight is just that it's amazing to me how we all have similar problems. You know, just around data and I feel like the nonprofit world is interesting in that I feel like we could really share a lot of what we can build together, and that's as opposed to the corporate where we're maybe more at odds. We don't really have to compete with each other in the same way, and so it's really great to see that we have similar problems and that we can work together to solve them.
Yeah, the main thing for me I'd say is most recruiting I've seen for hackathons and things like that has always really targeted engineers. And a lot of what we're talking about today really, it goes way beyond engineers. So I think it's insightful for me, and I'll try to help recruit marketing people and other people who want engineers.
Well, people have already touched on this a bit, but I think it's amazing how many resources there are, and I think just realizing that there really needs to be a good way to kind of pull everything together and be able to access it.
Seems great ideas are never in short supply, and potential solutions are never in short supply, particularly when we have these kinds of collaborative meetings and share each other's expertise. The short supply is the resources necessary to implement, and that's why we're here.
One insight I came away with, was kind of echoing the same, just, amazing how there's not long-term data tracking on success rates, interventions with nonprofits, like there's no way to actually tell. And I know, because I report that people are successful, 2 years later I see them on the street, I know, like, it's not actually real. So, wanting to change that.
I was happy to hear that. I think Silicon Valley can help. I come from the tech sector and spending a lot of my time going in the public sector and realizing, what she said is that there's a lot of things that we can do outside of engineering and hackathons and things that often seem trite in the world. But I realize now, which is I assumed this going in, when I got the yes that I wanted that. Actually, we have an abundance of knowledge, and that knowledge is going to be much more valuable than my money or my time is going to scale, and that's what we use in tech. We don't want to do that here, so I'm excited about that.
There's so much, there's an awful lot of resources in this room. There's an awful lot of like-minded people in this room, and there's definitely a lot of issues that need, addressing. But I guess the bottom line is sort of like, if we all believe we can do it, let's start get big, that kind of thing. Wow, I don't know where to go with this.
So this is a new insight, but it reaffirms just I think coming to the table is really important, because even if this doesn't lead to an online store for us, it's conversations have started and perspectives have been given, relationships have developed, and I think that's always positive. So I think it's important to take the time out of your very busy day to get away from your desk and just get together with a group of people sometimes and talk stuff out.
it's been great because we've been part of the central market things for a while, and how can tech help the nonprofit human service agencies, and this is really tangible. This is really possible, seeing how we could like merge together. Clearly we're trying to bring human services to the 21st century, make them accessible and very low threshold as well, and productive, so we don't reinvent the wheel all the time. So it seems really real that it can happen. So.
I'm glad to see that there are so many smart people working on important problems. And I'm hoping that I will be able to help with the crowdfunding platform that I'm doing. So
you know, I think a lot about how close we are to the problems when we're in nonprofit worlds. We're sort of in this bubble, and we know the problems so well that it's hard to kind of get outside the bubble without a formal invitation, even though it's a casual invitation. It's like, let's actually get outside and step up. And being able to work with folks who work in a solutions-oriented sort of environment. I think we are really good at explaining what the issues are and not as good at identifying what the solutions might be. And I think it's not that there's problem and solution, it's this sort of collaborative space where you sort of interactively are talking about the challenges and the solutions at the same time. And that's something that I think is really unique to this space, and I want to say thank you. And just, the idea that you come in with this sort of humble willingness to be transparent about issues that you're facing solutions to, and sort of a willingness to be open to solutions we haven't thought of. I think there's a real human component to that where you need to be open and keep being open, and so I enjoy that.
This is something I always talk about, but it just was kind of reaffirmed in all the discussions, is that it's not a technology issue, it's just a human issue. And so if we're not starting with like the human who we're trying to reach, it doesn't really matter what we build in a technology tool. So just try not to think about that end tool, but that end human in mind and how we can solve that. Maybe it's with tech, maybe it's with a meetup. But I think that's really good.
Yeah, for me, it's I know Kyle and I have had individual conversations with most people in the room prior to this, and we've heard a lot of similarities of what people are facing and what they're interested in working on, whether you're in a nonprofit or tech or something else. And so being able to have everybody in the same room today was really exciting to kind of see where we can cross-pollinate and share resources and share solutions. And we're excited to do that in an even larger context at the Hacktivation on March 28th through 30th. And so just really quickly before we close, I want to thank Ro so much for facilitating this. And for all of you guys for coming, and just to put out there that we still have more room for nonprofit partners. We're hoping to have between 150 and 200 volunteers who will bring their tech knowledge, their marketing knowledge, their social media knowledge to the table. So if anyone in the room has collaborators that you work with or know of other organizations that aren't represented here, please invite them, please put them in touch with us. And we are going to, to the extent that we can, walk through this same process of trying to get tangible ideas that can then be presented. And then another thing for anybody else that has other resources that might be able to support the actual Hacktivation, whether you or your company or people have resources, financial or in-kind contributions that could help make the event a success, we would welcome that. One thing that we are trying to do is create a small fund to help projects that are created, some select projects that are created during the Hacktivation event, continue beyond that. So whether it's a website that needs updating or a searchable database that's like 95% complete and we just need a little push to bring it to completion. We are still in the process of fundraising for that, so we would welcome any ideas or contributions or introductions to people who might be interested in helping to support that as well. And so with that, we look forward to just continuing to be in touch and seeing you guys all on the 28th. And we'll send some more information about the details of where the Hacktivation will be taking place for the welcome. So thank you guys all for being here.
Some of you wrote, just before you run out, some of you wrote notes from your conversations in notebooks. We would ask, could you take pictures of that with your phone and just sort of take them and then email it to
Hacktivation at reallocate.org.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you so much. We're going to use that. It'll be really, really important in informing
and we'll
Hacktivation.
share that with everybody as well. So it's all about getting everybody all the information that we talked about here.
And I also ask that if it's okay with everyone, that contacts be shared, just because not everyone
Yes.
had a card.
Absolutely. And I actually don't have everybody's contact information here. Some people did not register on Eventbrite. So if you don't think I have your info, please give it to me so we can add you to that contact list.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for inaugurating Free Space with such amazing ideas.